Greenville City Council will come to order. Please call the roll.
Brown.
Here.
Ely. Here. Godwin.
Here.
Norris.
Here.
Rogers. Schmidt.
Here.
Whitaker.
Here. I can get everyone to stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Council members, you were sent out the minutes. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, they will stand approved as emailed out. Approval of the current financial report that was emailed out. I will take a motion to approve or make. So moved. Okay. Moved by Mr. Brown to approve the financial report. Please call the roll.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes. Okay, moving on, approval of the agenda. On number 2 of the ordinance and resolutions, there is a change on there. We're adding in professional service fire department in the amount of $2,000. These funds are needed for equipment rental due to unexpected brush fire.
Any other change?
That's it.
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Moved by Mr. Schmidt to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to address, please come to the podium, state your name and address.
My name is Janet Dieter, and I live at 303 East Harmon, and I just have a couple of concerns. People now do approach me. And so one of the concerns is that I got approached about was the business that's on 4th Street that had a fire probably around 2010. It was a hair salon at one time, right next to what the print shop used to be that was run by Claudia. I don't know if you know in that vicinity. That place has sat empty, and when you walk by there, it looks pretty disgusting. And why they can't put paper over the windows or put up some kind of curtains or something. Just walk by. Well, now you can't because they're doing sidewalks. But this needs to be addressed because it really gives that feeling of nobody cares or something. I drove by there tonight after somebody brought it to my attention, and you see trash cans in there, and I've been told that nobody's doing anything about it. It's just sitting empty and collecting trash, and birds are flying in, and we don't want to become like Dayton. So if you'll consider that. Now, my other thing is, I just came from the park board meeting, and they told me I should be sharing this. Last Friday, I found a needle in front of my house, which is on Harmon. And so I waved down a police officer, and he put on some gloves, and he picked it up. And I said, thank you. I said, should you pick this up with gloves? Because I've been for years, I don't know if you know this, but I've for years been going down to the park and picking up trash. Because I don't want it to become like Dayton. That's what got me started years ago. When I was seeing all this, I thought, I'm doing that. So the second Tuesday of May, I was down in the park, and I'm also all about milkweed and butterflies. And I thought I'd move these milkweed plants. And while I was digging, I found a needle there by the bridge. And I thought, oh, the children who walk with no shoes on, they would have stepped on that. And who knows what could have happened. So I just picked it up, and I put it in the trunk of my car without even thinking. Within minutes, I started feeling ill. And I thought it was the heat. Now I have another feeling because when I stood up, I couldn't go forward. I kept telling my feet, go forward, go forward. And I couldn't. I kept going backwards, and all of a sudden I go back and I hit my head on the street. So I sat up, I felt my head. It was about as big as a softball. I am not exaggerating. So I sat there for a minute or two, and I looked at my car, and it looked like it was way down the street. It was very bizarre. And I stood up and I tried to walk, and I weaved like I was drunk. And I thought, what is going on? And some guy, young guy, came by and he says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Oh, could you get me my shovel?" I said, "I couldn't go back and get my shovel." So he went and got my shovel and I made it to the car. Then I took the needle out and I threw it in the trash. So I handled it a second time. I got home. I don't get ill. I take no medicines and I just never get ill. I was ill for 3 days. I couldn't eat. I slept. And of course, and then I had the knot, so I had a concussion from hitting the street. But it was a feeling I have never experienced in my life. And when I talked to the police officer about it, and he says you could have easily have picked up something off of that needle. And so I looked up fentanyl, and I had every one of those symptoms. And so I guess what I'm bringing to your concern is because a lady told me just yesterday that she found a needle in the 4th Street Park. So this is getting so out of control. They're just tossing these needles wherever, and children are running around barefoot. And my thing I brought up to the park today was that big old tire that's in the park. I'm afraid it's going to be a trash place because there is already trash there. And what if they start tossing the needles into that, and then a child crawls in there and gets stuck? If I went through that, what would it do to a child? And we don't want that on our record. So the person, one of the people that I was talking to this week, they said, could the police possibly patrol more around the park just to be seen there? Don't mean they have to get out and walk it like they do some places. If they just drove around occasionally. I expect that maybe these needles are being tossed at night, because when I got up Friday morning, that's when I found it. So I don't know, the one in front of my house. So I don't know when that occurred, but it's really getting to be scary when they're just throwing them everywhere. And we just don't want our kids to get sick. So that's what I wanted to bring to your attention. So thank you very much.
So I know the owner of the 4th Street property. I'll address that with him. And then
So much.
Ryan, if you could get with PD on that and see if we can step up patrol.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone else for a public hearing?
I'm here for moral support because he's never done this before. I'm not afraid of public speaking.
That's not my problem, not at all.
Yeah, you can do this.
I'm a soapboxer from way back. I have a couple of
We gotta
concerns.
give your name and address.
My name is Gail Jones, and I live at 134 West 4th Street, Greenville, right next to that building that has that problem, right here in Greenville. But I'm concerned about parking in that area. There's never any parking in that area. And I have seen people that actually work in the courthouse that park on that street for the day. And that I don't understand, because they have a parking lot. Because when I moved here in 2008, I was there at 2010, I moved onto that street. Because I didn't want to deal with maintenance of where I lived, so I sold the place and I moved into an apartment. Now on that street, every year that we have anything more than 10 inches of snow, I'm piled 3 feet high, my car. 3 feet high, the snow plow goes up and just plows me in. And I'm 72 years old, and I really don't want to go out there and shovel that, but I deal with that all the time. And it's constant. And I had an idea, and I gave it to the traffic, not the traffic, but the people in charge of the roads, that if they could get an ordinance or something that just states, if everybody parks on the even side of the street on the even day of the month during the months of, December, January, and February, that would save the plow could just go right up the street and take a whole side of the street clear off. And then the next day, everybody has to park on the other side of the street, and they go up that side and clear that off, and then the whole road is there. And we don't have this problem where this is piled here and this is piled there, because it takes away our parking as well. So we don't have any parking in the wintertime. We don't have a place to park in the summertime, and there is no place to park. And I'm 72. I can't walk 3 blocks to park my car, but we live downtown, and I've been there for 15 years, so I should be able to park my car where I live, but I can't, because from 9 to 5, it's unheard of. So what do we do? That's my concern, is the parking situation there. And not just there, I'm sure it's other neighborhoods the same way. But I mean, if they did have an ordinance where you can park on one side, on the even side, which would need 134, 136, 138 is the even side of the street, on a second of, fourth of, sixth of the month, you know what I mean? Even on even days and odd on odd days. Something like that. It's just convenient and easy because everybody knows the rules. If they don't move their car, they get a nice hefty ticket. And if they continue to do it, they get towed. That would be revenue for you. It keeps you all in paychecks. It'll make a lot of people unhappy, but it would certainly make me one happy old lady at 72, you know?
So you live on the 100 block?
I live on the 134 West 4th Street, and I'm not moving. I've been there for 15 years, and I'm not moving. My landlord's a great guy, and, he does anything I need, and I do, climb up 23 stairs every day and walk 100 feet to the back apartment and live there quietly and calmly, and I used to live in the front, but there was a pothole in the front that drove me insane. Because every time a trailer or a truck would drive over that pothole, I'd jump out of my chair because it was kaboom, kaboom, and I said, that's it, I'm moving. Jeff, whenever you get another apartment, I'm moving way to the back, and it's quiet and peaceful back there, I hear nothing. My sister has the apartment up front, and she's bitching about the dang thing, making all that noise. But we did call about the pothole, and they did come out and pour some cement, tar, whatever you call it, in there, and then it happened again, because there's something in that road that's causing a heave, all the way across the street. So the pothole, when they hit that heave, when they land on the other side, they break open a pothole. So I don't know what's going on over there, but I wish something could be done. That's right across the street, and in the street with what she was talking about. So I did talk to somebody about the plowing and how they pile the snow in parking places, in legit parking places, 6 feet high. And I'm like, oh great, there's 4 parking spaces now gone, and we've got 6 people living in my building alone. Well, 2, 3, 4, 5 people living in my building, and then the girl downstairs who works there. And we're not gonna spend $200 a year to park in Travis Pearson's place. We're just not gonna do that. We can't afford it. We're on Social Security, So, that's all I gotta say. Gave you a few earfuls, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Anyone else? Public hearing? All right, we will move on to administration reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. Just a few things here to announce, things that I've done already and coming up. Community Action Partnership had their annual picnic in the park for this area of including Greenville. And Jeff Whitaker was able to be there, and Dolores is on their board or whatever. And so it was nice. They had shared some time there. And I said a few words, thanking them for all the work they do in our community and helping the people that need help. They do a lot of things, all kinds of things for energy bills and their rents and, gosh, I don't know.
I get to give a report in a little bit about that.
Okay, you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Good. So then, what else is coming up? I did thank everybody in the city for their help with the Memorial Day Parade that we just had a week ago, last weekend. It was a good showing, trying to revitalize that parade. It kind of gone downhill for a good while, and so we had some nice, not floats, we had entries in the parade, and it worked out real well. So we had a nice celebration, ceremony down at a cemetery, so it worked out great. Douglas Scott, which is Dr. Douglas Scott, which helps out with the ROTC at the high school, gave a speech, and Ben Thayer was there and said a few words for Congressman Warren Davison. So worked out great, and I want to make sure I tell you guys that it worked out great, and the departments that were, street department, fire department, police department, all did a great job for us, so appreciate it. The fireworks are coming up July 2nd. Guys, are coming faster and faster. It's Sunday night at dusk. It was around 10 o'clock. Yeah, never think about that. So about got all the money we've collected, probably somewhere at least $30,000 or more be spent on fireworks. It's amazing that that's grown. I think we spent about $12,000 when I first started, and people are donating more and more almost every year, so it's pretty cool. So July 2nd is Sunday night fireworks. Let's see. Coming up this Saturday, there'll be two different celebrations, basically for the life of Jim Greendyke and for Douglas Dickey. Both lost their lives in Vietnam. And Saturday morning at the VFW, I believe, there'll be a honor the family of Jim Greendyke. And then at the Garst Museum, there'll be a display at both places. There'll be a display for Douglas Dickey and honor his family for his service to the military. So, and then coming up this Thursday, I'll have a proclamation for Farm Power of the Past, which is going to be July 6th through the 9th at the fairground. So with that, I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Safety Service Director, Mr. Delk.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I would just like to remind all our citizens that we do have a no solicitation rule in the city of Greenville. We've received a lot of calls recently of gas and electric aggregation companies soliciting for them to switch their supplier. So if someone does show up at your door, if you'd please call the police department, and as much information as you can give them, car, name, color of car, if you get a license plate number, that way we can better track them down. We've had quite a few calls recently. I had a lady in today that signed up and she was upset with herself that she, I guess, fell for it, and once she looked into it, her rates doubled from what the city's aggregation program is. Fortunately, she said she had 7 days to opt out, and so she was going to try to opt out and get back into ours, but sometimes that could probably be another headache as well. So if anyone has anyone coming to their door, please call the police department and make them aware so we can run them out of town.
Do we have signs up at?
We do not. We've always required before permits, and they would have to come to the auditor's office and get a permit. And now, since we have no soliciting, but there are not signs at the court.
Should we? That'd be a question to the law director.
I mean, in theory, you don't need a sign for everything, but we could. The past council president was very opposed to signs.
Well, I would have to, I'm not a big sign person either. But I think on that, it's kind of sends that clear message, someone coming in town. I don't know.
And then part of it is, so do you put it on every entrance coming into town? Do we put a sign up?
Well, okay, go ahead.
How about this? I'll check into the price of signs and some sizes, and we'll revisit.
I might like to add that, your memo on code enforcement officer, when that hit social media, I was really surprised at the number of comments that I received in the grocery store and on the phone. When I talked to a friend or something, they said, "Are they really going to do that? Are they going to?" I said, "Yep, that's what it's for." So I think maybe, we've talked about in the past about moments of concerns or concerns in your city. Maybe that's something, a little write-up you need to do about, there is no soliciting in the city of Greenville. And then also another little reminder to people who are misusing our parks, that's an offense too. So I don't know. I think we could probably do a lot with social media on that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So speaking of code enforcement, we started our code enforcement this week, assigned a school resource officer that will do it for the summer. We've already gotten a lot of voluntary compliance, and so he's doing exactly what we wanted him to, going out, knocking on the door, talking to people. When it's a police officer, they
tend to listen a little better. So if it keeps going the way it is, I'm extremely happy with the turnaround, hopefully by the end of the summer. And maybe we need to look something more long-term after that. We'll just see how it goes. But the police officer addition is really helping. North Ohio Street project, they're finishing up water lines this week, and then we have to do all the pressure testing and bacteria testing on the new water line before we can actually put it into service. They're pouring the traffic light bases at the intersection this week as well, and then the plan is to open South Ohio up Friday, and then we're going to have to either close it or kind of restrict it on down the road. And I think it's June 19th, the curb machine's coming in to do the curb and all the concrete work. And that should be basically the last major thing, besides waiting for the traffic light mast arms to come in and the paving and the paint striping. And I was just informed today that we should find out the 1st of July if we were approved for our new water tower loan design. So once we get that approval, then we'll start the design process, and then we'll apply for the actual loan for construction in October of 2023, and construction in 2024 is the plan. And with that, I will pass. Oh, one more thing. Congrats to Greenville girls softball.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I
Thank you, Ryan.
ask, have you sprayed mosquitoes yet?
No.
Are they going?
The only place we had problems was 502, and somebody told me.
It's across the street. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'll check with Matt and see if, last year we struggled getting chemicals, so I'll see where he's at with that.
I have a question for you, too.
Yes, ma'am.
How are the paving projects going on citywide? Street paving, some of the schedule still paving? We're doing, like, I have,
We just bid it a couple weeks ago and approved it, so we don't have it scheduled yet.
Okay.
But this summer, yeah, it'll go.
somebody asked me, and I said, I don't think it's on board yet, but it's getting close.
Yeah, it'll be like August timeframe before they come to town. They're gonna come into town to do Ohio, just to get that one wrapped up, but they won't do the whole thing until August.
Okay, thank you.
But there have been spot patching, including the one right out here when you leave the driveway and about drop in. That's done.
Did you fall in? Okay, thank you, appreciate that.
Okay, moving on to Law Director, Mr. Reaman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just one item tonight. You do have, hopefully, the approval of the committee report on the revisions we made to the personnel policy manual. There'll be no legislation on that tonight. I want to give everybody time to read that. If you're reading that and have questions, just feel free to reach out to me. Happy to have any discussion that we need to on that. So with that, I'll answer any questions anyone has.
All right, thank you, Mr. Reaman. Moving on, City Auditor, Ms. Wellman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I have nothing other than I have a comment after the committee reports are completed.
Okay.
And with that, I'll pass.
Okay. Thank you. Committee reports. We have one on personnel, public relations.
Dear Council, the Personnel and Public Relations Committee met several times since assignment to the committee. Law Director Reaman also attended a policy/procedure manual training. We discussed the policy manual and how to make it shorter and take out some verbiage that isn't believed to be necessary any longer. It is the thought that by shortening it and making it easier to read, that this may lead to easier recruiting in the future and also make it easier to understand for current employees. The Personnel and Public Relations Committee currently recommends that Council approve legislation allowing the change to the policy manual for the City of Greenville. Thanks for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Brian Brown, Chairman, Dolores Ely, Vice Chairwoman, and Chris Norris, Member.
Move to accept the committee report.
Moved by Mr. Schmidt to accept the committee report. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes,
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris, Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, next we have a committee report from the Finance Committee.
To Greenville City Council, the Finance Committee met on May 31st, 2023 to discuss the initial 2024 budget. It is our recommendation to approve the budget. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Doug Schmidt, Chairman, Jeff Whitaker, Vice Chairman, and Leon Rogers, Member.
Make a motion to accept the committee report.
Moved by Mr. Godwin to accept this committee report. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown?
Yes.
Ely?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Okay, that completes our committee reports.
Mr. Council President,
Yes.
at this time, I would like to request a public hearing for the 2024 budget for the first meeting in July.
Okay, so moved. We'll get that scheduled. Okay, thank you. Moving on to ordinances and resolution. First, we have on here a resolution waiving water tap-in fees for GHS Leasing LLC. This was given the second reading, so this is the third reading?
Should be the third reading.
Okay.
A resolution waiving water tap-in fees in an amount not to exceed $16,000 and no cents for GHS Leasing LLC. This resolution waives the water tap-in fees in an amount not to exceed $16,000 for GHS Leasing LLC for their property located at 5469 State Route 49 South.
You need a motion to adopt?
Yep, because it's had the three readings.
Yeah.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, so we move to adopt this resolution. Mr. Godwin, discussion? Call the roll.
Brown?
I'll abstain.
Ely?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Okay. Next, on the ordinance and resolutions, we have a supplemental ordinance.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023. This supplemental ordinance allows for appropriations in the General Fund, Waterworks Surplus Fund, and Capital Improvement Plan Fund in the sum as follows. New equipment, Police Department, in the amount of $1,715. These funds are needed for purchase of new equipment not budgeted previously. Professional Services Fire Department, in the amount of $2,000. These funds are needed for equipment rental due to an unexpected brush fire. Capital Improvements, Waterworks Surplus Fund, in the amount of $38,507.20. These funds are needed for the lead water service replacement project and were provided by the Ohio Water Development Authority. Roadway Improvement CIP in the amount of $50,032.67. These funds are needed for the North Ohio Street Project and were provided by a grant from the Ohio Public Works Commission.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
It's been moved by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second and third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown?
Yes.
Ely?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023.
Move to adopt.
Been moved by Mr. Whitaker to adopt this ordinance. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown?
Yes.
Ely?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 3, a resolution accepting the EB Fuel Stop LLC bid for fuel services.
A resolution accepting the EB Fuel Stop LLC bid for the provision of fuel services. This resolution authorizes the mayor to accept the bid of EB Fuel Stop LLC for the provision of fuel.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution its second and third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules against this resolution, second, third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown?
Yes.
Ely?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
A resolution accepting the EB Fuel Stop LLC bid for the provision of fuel services. A resolution accepting the EB Fuel Stop LLC bid for the provision of fuel services.
Move to adopt.
Moved to adopt by Mr. Whitaker. Discussion?
We just get like a percentage off, or how's that work?
No, so there's a There's a market rate and delivered rate that comes out every day. So it's basically that market rate plus the taxes that we pay, which we pay state, we don't pay federal, and then a cost on top of that is how it's broke down.
Oh, thank you.
But in good news, this bid's gonna save us like 40 cents a gallon per last year, so they came in significantly lower.
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 4, resolution authorizing bids for water and plant chemicals for 2024.
A resolution approving bids for contracts for water and sewer plant chemicals for use and delivery in 2024. This resolution approves the bids from USA, LCO, Fairfield Plant, Carmuse Lime and Stone, Chemical Service, Inc., Rentag Mid-South, Inc., and PBS Technologies, Inc. for water and sewer plant chemicals for use and delivery in 2024.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution its second and third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, give this resolution second and third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
A resolution approving bids for contracts for water and sewer plant chemicals for use and delivery in 2024. A resolution approving bids for contracts for water and sewer plant chemicals for use and delivery in 2024.
Motion to adopt?
Motion by Mr. Godwin to adopt resolution. Discussion?
It was, I know last year we had a pretty healthy increase. Was it very similar this year?
No, it was not as bad this year.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, last year I think some of them doubled and
It was terrible.
Yeah, it was probably somewhere in the 15%, 15 to 20%.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Excuse me, yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 5, resolution authorizing entering into agreement with the Ohio EPA.
A resolution authorizing entering into a grant agreement with the Ohio EPA. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to execute the grant agreement with the Ohio EPA for water line maintenance equipment.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution its second and third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, give this resolution second and third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing entering into a grant agreement with the Ohio EPA. A resolution authorizing entering into a grant agreement with the Ohio EPA.
Motion to adopt.
Move to adopt this resolution by Mr. Brown. Discussion?
Yeah, Ryan, what is this?
Water line locator. So basically, they give us a grant for a water line locator, but we have to sign an agreement that says we're gonna use it to locate water lines, and if we're not, then we have to return it. So it's just us agreeing to take their free locator.
Clear as mud. Thank
I was
you.
gonna make Curtis get up and tell you about it.
Oh, we can make them.
Thank
No?
you.
Any other discussion?
It's actually for a hose monster and a water line locator, because the hose monster will help with assist with pressure, diagnosing the different pressures on the fire hydrants and everything like that. So there's two parts to that grant that we're taking on.
Hose monster.
It's almost $10,000.
What an intriguing, not the official name, a hose monster. Huh. All right, then.
I like that.
Any other discussion?
You asked.
Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay.
It was going to be easy tonight, did they?
No. Lost me on that one. Number 6, resolution approving MOU with the U.S. Marshal, and this has a emergency clause.
A resolution to approve a memorandum of understanding with the United States Marshal Service and declaring an emergency. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to enter into a memorandum of understanding to allow participation of Greenville City Police officers with the United Marshals Service for the benefit of additional training and the use of U.S. Marshals Service resources. This resolution has an emergency clause.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second, third time.
Moved by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, give this resolution second and third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
A resolution to approve a memorandum of understanding with the United States Marshals Service and declaring an emergency. A resolution to approve a memorandum of understanding with the United States Marshals Service and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion on the emergency clause? Call the roll.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes. Move to adopt.
Moved to adopt by Mr. Brown. Discussion? No discussion on this? So Ryan, will you talk about this a little bit, so in case the public wants to
Absolutely.
know what we're doing here?
So this is with the U.S. Marshals Service. We've been a member of their group in the past, but we haven't had any officers involved with them for quite a few years. They reached out and said, do you have any officers interested in joining? They have a task force that's out of Dayton. So right now, so what we'll do next is we'll do a sign-up sheet in the police department, any officers that are interested, and then the chief and lieutenants will pick who gets to go. So we'll have probably 2 or 3 officers. So they'll go down once a month and train with the U.S. Marshals, and, chasing bad guys, basically. And what that does, it gives us great training. It keeps our officers involved. And then if we would have a need here to use the U.S. Marshals, then they extend the favor back our way. And then the big part of it is their tracking capabilities are bar none compared to what we have. So then they give us access to all that as well.
Yeah, several benefits, I feel, to the city and to the police department. So, any questions on that? Call the roll.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, we have nothing under new business. Under old business, we have the tabled zoning amendment. Anyone want to do anything with that? Not yet. Okay, moving on to council representing outside committee, and I think we have a half-hour report from Mrs. Ely, right?
It's not a half hour, but it could be if I speak slowly, okay? All right, I'm reporting on the Community Action Partnership. And I think it's important that you hear their mission statement, and so I'm going to read that, so yep, it's going to be a little bit. The mission of the Community Action Partnership is to work in partnership with local communities to eliminate the causes and conditions of poverty and to promote individual independence and self-sufficiency. The areas that they address, as the mayor mentioned, are housing, homelessness prevention, and rapid rehousing, the emergency homeless shelter, home energy, winter, summer crisis. They have commodities for seniors over 60. They have financial help for people that are in a financial hardship. I found out something that I didn't know, and I'm going to follow up on this one. They have a camp in the summer for underprivileged children. I didn't know much about that, and I'm going to find out about that. And of course, my all-time favorite project that they do is the clothing bank. I'm a very dedicated supporter of that. I volunteer there every Friday, and I encourage council members, city employees, and the community to donate to this program. It's just not clothing. Household items are also appreciated. And like the mayor mentioned, on the 26th, they had a picnic in the park. That was also supported by the Miami Valley Community Action Partnership, which is where we are serving under them. There was a nice picnic lunch, plenty of door prizes donated by merchants, beautiful planters, and there was bingo, which I was privileged to call. And there were lots of things that were given away to all those who were in attendance. And some of those people were just really grateful. One of the little ladies that I see on a weekly basis, she got an ice cream maker, and she was just thrilled beyond belief that she was going to go home and make ice cream. So I urge you to not forget that's at the end of, Edson Road. And if you have any problems or you want to talk to somebody about something, see me. Thanks.
Awesome job. Thank you for all your help there.
Sizes, clothes-wise, is it?
Any kind.
Okay. Baby on up.
Yeah, the thing that's really kind of nice on the clothing bank is a Walmart and Target, and some of those places, at the end of the season, they bring in what doesn't sell, and we put those out. And that, it's kind of convenient because people can come, you can get a $1 bag of clothing, you can get a $3 bag of clothing, and you can get a $5 bag of clothing. A $1 bag is like a Walmart or grocery store. $3 a white trash bag. $5 is a big green trash bag. And I'm here to tell you, you can put a lot of clothes in those 3 sizes of bags. Plus, they have dishes and all that good stuff. So, big fan. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to communications.
We received the CIC minutes from March 22nd, 2023, and the monthly reports of May from the Income Tax Department, Fire Department, and Street Department.
Okay.
John, I have a question on the fire department report. Is this the proper time to ask?
Yeah, sure.
Chief Thompson, on the fire department's report, we had the inspections down for a total of 103. Is that for the month?
Russ, could you come up and speak at the podium, please? That way they can hear you on the YouTube.
I didn't hear your question.
Yeah, on the under the fire prevention, it had the total inspections. Is that for the past month, or is that for the quarter, or?
Month of May,
Month of May.
for the past
Okay.
month.
Well,
Or 3 total.
yeah, because it had a total of 103 inspections completed for the month. My mistake, I didn't read that. But I saw 170 violations addressed.
Correct.
And it's like,
That seems to be about our average. We're averaging somewhere between 175 to 200 violations per month.
yeah, and
That's
those
just
are,
total violations, everything from, exit lights out or extinguishers not being serviced, those extension cords being used as permanent wiring, those seem to be our number one.
yeah, get a power
issues.
strip or what have you.
Correct. And you got to think too, if we're also doing re-inspections of those violations, they still shows up as violations. So they're existing violations. So there's no way for me to dummy that report down to show actual first-time violations for the month. It's just all violations that we're dealing with for the month.
Okay.
So that includes the re-inspections too.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. That was just, hit me today when I read it, and I'm thinking, I'm glad you were here.
Glad to know that you're actually reading the report.
Yes. That's me. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. All right, call council.
Just wanted to say, had a meeting at the cemetery today. It was relatively short. The value I got was mostly after the meeting. Being on the board there for a few months, I got Tracy to give me a tour of the cemetery, and just super informational. I'm not quite sure how long he's been out there, but he knows his stuff. And he's super helpful. Somebody came in while we were having our meeting, and he was super helpful to them. And so, anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to him for that. Juva is good to know. Expect hotel traffic, I would assume, to pick up in the coming days in town. Eldora Speedway, the Dirt Late Model Dream is this week. And so there will be a ton of people around Darke County, as well as Greenville. So, and lastly, I would say congratulations to the girls softball. And with that, I'll pass.
Ely?
Okay, since I already gave an extensive report, I will say I'm glad to see that the code enforcement is going well. I have had several, as I said, several concerns about those that have been contacting me. I have one that I'm going to take to the police department today or tomorrow, whenever. And with that, I will pass. And thanks for everybody for coming, and I thank to all the city employees. You guys do great work. Thank you.
Godwin?
I'm on a pass.
Norris?
Well, yeah, thanks for everybody who came up to speak tonight. We appreciate the feedback. Chief, thank you for answering my question. Yeah, go Lady Wave. I mean, we get regionals and all the way to state, and the junior high team taking the MVL championship. So very proud of them. big tournament coming up, 16th, 17th, and 18th. We're going to fill the north end again and probably have about 36 teams in, and then we're going to host a Western Ohio Youth League 10U on a Monday through Friday at the very end of the month. So it'll be, we'll fill up the diamonds again and hopefully fill up some restaurants and so forth around here. So that'll be a good thing. Memorial Day Parade was fabulous. Mayor, thanks for everything that you did to get that to grow. And it was a very good ceremony out at the cemetery. Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Thank you. With that, I'll pass.
Schmidt,
I will pass.
Whitaker,
Yeah, I want to congratulate the girls softball Lady Wave. Rob and I had a chance to go up to Akron and catch the game and fell a little short, but it was a very good game. Wanted to thank the people at Tribute Funeral Home and also at the volunteers from Radiant Lighthouse Church for helping with the cookout and a luncheon for the veterans on Memorial Day at the American Legion. That went very well. It was a beautiful morning. Also want to mention the successful law enforcement memorial ceremony, Back to Blue, that was held at the fairgrounds on May 20th. It was a very touching event. Honored over 100, and I forgot, 120 plus officers from around the country. They honored every one of them, mentioning their names and all the canine as well that were killed in line of duty. The guest speaker was a police officer from Pennsylvania. I forgot the name of the city. He had been shot 7 times in one incident involving drugs, and he lived to tell about it, and it was a very touching presentation that he made. So I was glad to have a chance to go to that and look forward to next year's event as well. So with that, I pass.
President Baumgartner.
Yep, so a couple things. So code enforcement, this has been one of my driving things. I've wanted for a long time, so I'm tickled to death that we finally got someone from the police department doing this. My only ask is, we have 100 employees that work for the city, including this body here, including the department heads there. We all need to take part in this, and if we see something that needs attention, we need to let the PD know or Ryan know it needs to get addressed, right? So I think if you drive around the city, we need a little support there. Getting some of the properties cleaned up, cars parked up in yards and couches in backyards, et cetera. So I applaud the code enforcement officer, but I think it's all of our part to step up and do it, okay? And then, yeah, so I'll echo this. So amazing year for Greenville softball. It's my 3rd time I've been to a Final Four state game. This one here, I didn't have a daughter playing, but the other 2, I had daughters playing in both games. The first one was a win, and the second one was runner-up. So this one here, we fell a little short, but I look forward to the next 3 or 4 years because we have a really stellar group of 8th graders coming up, and I think we're going to be really good. So, and with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Brown to adjourn. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone.